Hello guys, and welcome back to Harland Podcast, and today we have a very, very special episode. We will be interviewing Catherine Sutherland, aka the Pink Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3 and 4, Zeo, and Turbo. So this is a special episode, short. It's only about 28 minutes, but enjoy the episode. I may as well just hop right into this interview. One thing I wanted to know was, how much did you know about Power Rangers before you were cast for the show?
Nothing. I had no idea what it was. I watched one episode before I joined the cast, so I kind of knew who my fellow actors were, and it made no sense to me at all. So yeah, I knew nothing. I still am learning, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I feel you. Power Rangers is like one of the biggest things ever created. There's so much to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
And not all of it makes sense either. Like sometimes fans try to make more out of it than it actually was. Like,
yeah, that's for sure. How was it to actually work on Power Rangers, considering that it is arguably one of the biggest entertainment things ever, like worldwide?
It's really is a huge honor. It's funny because when I left the show, I think you're kind of stereotyped as when you leave a show that's so well known, you know. So at first, when I left the show and I was acting, I didn't really embrace it. Like I kind of ran away from it a little bit, and when I started doing conventions in 2009, that's when it kind of came back into my life full force. And I had a whole new revelation of the impact that the show had made on so many people. And it really makes me feel very proud and I feel very blessed to have been a part of it, and a part of it in the early stages of the show. It seems to have kind of getting more momentum now, actually. I think just with social media and everything. So yeah, it's been a real gift that keeps giving in my life.
Nice. That's crazy, because what you mentioned about social media impacting the growth of Power Rangers, I was going to ask, how do you think Netflix has impacted the outreach?
Yeah,
having every season for the most part.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for that, because I think a lot of our younger audience would normally just be watching it on network TV, and now they have the opportunity to go back and watch all the beginning evolution of the show, and it's really helped keep our characters alive. So yeah, Netflix is wonderful.
You mentioned conventions, and I've always been interested in like how they work. So I was just wondering, like, what are they like, for just in general?
So I didn't even know what a convention was when I went to my first one. But it's basically, you get all kinds of fandoms from, Walking Dead to Game of Thrones to Star Trek, Star Wars, a lot of voiceover shows like Ruby and Attack on Titan and all kinds of stuff. So usually at an anime expo, obviously it's going to be anime. A lot of the conventions that I do are usually pop culture. So, it might be a convention where they have Marvel, they'll have Power Rangers, they'll have Star Trek and Star Wars. And some of the ones I've been to have been more like they'll have reunions of casts. Like I've been to one where they had the Married with Children cast, or they'll have the Happy Days, or, different kind of depends on the genre of the convention. And so you have all these people, most people cosplay, so they'll dress up as their favorite characters, and it's very colorful and fun. And they have vendors that sell all different merchandise and toys and swords and posters and everything. A lot of people that make their own like their own stuff, like selling their own stuff, from like people creating toys and things like that. and comic book vendors and things like that. And then people come in and they come up to your table and meet you. And often in my situation, they'll bring toys like my action figures or things like that for me to sign, pop figures, or they'll want to take a picture with you. Some people ask me to do a shout out. They'll have me like autograph pictures. And then we do photo ops. We do Q&As where people sit in the audience and ask us questions about our time on the show, and they're really fun. It's a really fun way to connect.
It sounds really fun,
Have you
really
never
interesting,
been to
honestly.
one?
Never. There's one up in this a couple hours away from me every year that I might go eventually. You gotta have something there that is really interesting me, and since I live in such a small town, there's not that much things around me for me to go to, right?
Right. Where do you live? Where are you based?
I live in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Do you know this movie Lighthouse? They filmed that in my town, actually. It's like a really small little
That's so
town.
cool. Nova Scotia. Wow. I thought I sensed a little accent.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? When you live in Nova Scotia, you don't really feel like anyone has an accent. So, but you mentioned figures and stuff like that, and I've always wondered, what is it like to have, to see figures of yourself and like things based on you, like just at a store, or people bring up to you, or you just get tagged in, like what is it like?
Well, my figures were particularly unattractive. Basically, they took the male figures and just put blonde hair on it. But no, I am it's really fun to have an action figure after you. I love the new Legacy line. They're really amazing. It's pretty cool. And I didn't even think about it when I was on the show back then, but now all the paraphernalia that goes along with the show has been really fun. And I have fans give me really cool things, and all these creative people. This one fan, he was so amazing. He took my figure and he basically made it like a battle version, and he did all these things to it, so creative, and made this amazing action figure. I'm like, you need to sell these. These are amazing. So it's fun. It's fun to be a superhero.
That's sick. I love seeing like custom figures and stuff around the show, and custom like paintings and stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing. People are so talented what they can do.
Yeah, it is really impressive. And so with Power Rangers being such a huge brand outside of like just like it's worldwide, have you been anywhere like on like a vacation or something where you didn't expect anyone to come up to you and then like people recognized you like the whole time?
Yeah, that happens sometimes when we're traveling at the airport. I'm always surprised if people try and stop me, or doesn't happen as much where I live in California, but when I'm traveling around the country, it happens a lot. And it's kind of surprises me because I just kind of getting on with my life, and I'm a mom, and I'm in like a different frame of mind when I'm at home. So when that happens, I'm always like, oh, I went to my daughter's school once, and a couple of her friends were like, is that your mom? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's the Pink Ranger. And Lily was kind of surprised herself because she didn't know, because I'm like the old lady, And so they were running up to me asking for my autograph. It was kind of awkward and embarrassing. I'm in my workout clothes with a ball cap on, and but yeah, so it still takes me by surprise.
So Power Rangers is like your most recognizable work, but you've obviously worked on things outside of Power Rangers. What are some of the most fun things or things you're most proud of outside of Power Rangers that you've been able to work on?
I did a lot of theater in Australia, and I loved Shakespeare, and I loved musical theater. So I did a lot of that before I came on the show. But the most, I think, just the most memorable experience was The Cell. I did The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, and it was my first union job. the way that they treated me, and just the whole experience where Vincent D'Onofrio, it was just a really amazing experience. It was very strenuous because I had to be in this huge water tank for days on end, where I was in the they showed the different stages of him torturing me, and it was really intense, but such an amazing experience too. So that was probably the most memorable.
All right. What about acting made you so interested in what made you like fall in love with the art form?
I was always a really outgoing child. I started dancing when I was 5. So my mom said I was always doing pirouettes and grand jetés down the street. And I was always singing. And I really had a love for the arts very early. I played piano and I sang, and, I did school musicals and things like that. And so I fell in love with it very young. And when I was about 13, I was in school, and all I wanted to do was perform. I didn't really care about anything else. And so I had heard about this school in Sydney called MacDonald College, which was a performing arts school, kind of like Juilliard. I don't know if you've heard of Juilliard, but it's
Yeah.
a performing arts school where you do schoolwork, but it's also integrated with the arts. And so I begged my family to go there. My dad was really not for it. I was at a very, very academic school, private school at the time, but he conceded, and eventually, and I went to this MacDonald College. So I was 14 when I started going there, and graduated from that school. But it was, I was probably dancing, acting, and singing for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day sometimes. And I just absolutely loved it. And so when I graduated high school, it just, went on I went to an acting school, just to kind of, learn more about my craft. And then I was modeling to, make money. And my modeling agency had an acting division. So I started going out for auditions, and Power Rangers came along quite quickly. I was 20 when I got Power Rangers, so it wasn't long. I didn't have to go through the painstaking of auditioning too long before I got a really great opportunity. So I just love the opportunity to be someone different, and to it's like an escape. I feel like when you get to perform, you get to be whoever you want to be, and it's just really fun. So
That's sick. I've always really like appreciated the art form of acting, and people that are musically talented. Like I love music. I'm just not as talented as most people when it comes to something like that. But that's why I've always been able to appreciate and enjoy it.
yeah.
And um, the thing with Power Rangers I wanted to ask about was, what do you think makes so many people so connected to Power Rangers, despite it being one of the most kind of uniquely ran shows where there's like a new series within the universe every year in a way? What do you think makes people still attached to it, even when they're constantly changing it?
I think it really appeals to children because it is very bright colors. It's very fast. It has really exciting music. You have monsters. You have all different nationalities and ethnicities. You have girls and boys. It really covers a lot of different genres. And I think for kids, there's always someone that they can connect to. And I've heard that a lot, especially with the earlier seasons of the show. In the original series, they had, the Valley girl, cutesy, popular, cheerleader type girl. Then they had the more introspective, quiet, mature, nurturing kind of girl with Trini. Then you had the intelligent, geeky kid. Then you had, with Billy, you had the cool dancer, hip hop, awesome Zach. And then you had the leader, the stoic leader in Jason. You had Tommy, who was the outcast that So they just covered a lot of different personalities, and I think that makes kids feel safe and connected. And then it was just a really fun show to watch. It was very quick, 20 minutes, and it was over. So it kept their attention. And now I think the reason it's continuing on is, we have fans that are now watching it with their children and passing it down. And so it's something fun for them to do together. And I really love that. It's like the legacy continues on.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've always viewed the thing of Power Rangers for me is why I've always enjoyed it, even throughout every basically year I've existed, is how diverse it is and how willing they are to break the boundaries that people wouldn't expect, especially for like a Disney show for the main demographic of children. It does the next level that it doesn't need to do, but it does it
Yeah.
anyway. I think that's what makes a lot of people like the show,
Yeah.
especially me.
Absolutely.
Um, how do you think Power Rangers like affects your overall perspective on like TV and movies and stuff like that? Like, how did Power Rangers change your perspective on things like that?
What, with shows that I watch, or just being a part of it?
Yeah, but like being a part of it, like maybe like Power Rangers might have changed things that you want to inherently be involved with.
I don't know that it affected me that way. I definitely have a affinity for strong female characters. So maybe it influenced me there. I love Wonder Woman and Black Widow, and I just love Khaleesi in Game of Thrones. And so I think I definitely gravitate to women that are, or characters that are strong and can handle themselves on their own.
All right. Another thing I wanted to ask, because I feel like a lot of people in a similar role that you had at a younger age, is how do you think being a role model at a younger age affected you?
I did take the responsibility very seriously. I was always very aware of the impact that I was having on the younger generation. So I think I was very aware when I was out in public to be responsible, to not, be drunk and be acting like an idiot. So I was a little bit more restrained, I think, in my earlier years, because I took the responsibility of my position of being a hero seriously. And I also think because we had a lot of visits from Make-A-Wish and Starlight Foundation, I was exposed a lot to what our show meant to these kids. That was their dying wish to meet us. And that was very impactful on my heart, because I felt like, gosh, I that's their last wish is to meet us. Like, this is a big deal. This is something I really need to think about, what I'm giving back to them. So that was a real gift. I really loved that part of the job, actually. So yeah, it just made me a little bit more aware of my position in the world, I think, and what kind of impact I wanted to leave.
Yeah, that's amazing, and like getting the opportunity to be able to reach out to so many people and have a lasting effect on so many people, I think is really beautiful in a sense. So
yeah, it's actually, social media has been a real gift in that way. I know it can be a time waster, and it can be negative thing, because you get a lot of trolls and things like that. But I also think it's a real gift, because you can reach out to a lot of people and use your platform to be a positive influence. And I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but my page is very positive. I try to really keep it a place of joy and encouragement for people. And I try not to get too political or anything like that, unless it's something I feel I really need to say, because I think there's so much opinion and anger and just negativity out there, and I don't want to encourage that. I want to have a place of comfort and ease and joy for people.
Right. You mentioned your Instagram account, and I just remembered you posted on your story about the White Ranger. What is it? It's like is it
Legend
a
of the White
series that they're
Ranger.
trying to make?
It's
Yeah, isn't it
so
based off the comic book?
It's not. It's actually a different universe. So they're still writing the script, but it's a whole new universe. It's not anything to do with Power Rangers. And it's called Legend of the White Dragon. And we just raised over $500,000 thanks to our amazing fans. So they're going to be making a movie, and we're really excited about it. Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to watch it 'cause I'm gonna watch it right when it comes out. I thought it was based on that Green Ranger comic, but now that I hear that, makes it even a little more exciting because I like opening up to new things.
Yeah, I mean it's going to have the same feel and genre of Power Rangers, but a more mature version, and you'll see some similar themes, but they're taking it in a different direction. So they're really listening to the fans and what the fans are looking for, and it's not just Power Ranger actors. I mean, me and Jason Font, and I think Sierra Hanna is in it, but they have a lot of other actors too, Sierra Foster, and there's a lot of different actors that I didn't even know yet. I'm looking forward to meet that are going to be in it. So yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Well, it sounds fantastic, and I'm excited for it. And on the topic of more mature Power Rangers, what was your thought on the 2017 reboot of the film?
I really liked it, actually. I know it got a lot of flack, but I loved the characters. I thought it was like Breakfast Club meets Power Rangers. I think they did take a little bit long to morph. That was the biggest complaint with the fans, I think. But I loved Rita. I loved the how they showed Rita and Zordon in the beginning, how she tried to kill everybody, and I didn't like Goldar. I wasn't crazy about him, but I loved the actors. I thought they were all fantastic, especially RJ. I thought he was the guy that played Billy.
Yes, RJ was great.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a good job. I don't know, it didn't do that great, but they're making a second one, so maybe that'll make the fans happier.
Or are they going with a sequel? I thought they were rebooting because they sold it.
Oh, really? They're doing another version? I thought they were doing a sequel. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think the original plan was to do a sequel with the Green Ranger based off the after credit scene, but then they sold the rights to the movie to another company. I think they're rebooting it again, which sucks because I like the one too.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh well.
For sure. Playing such an iconic character that is so recognizable and so big. Did you ever feel like you had a lot of pressure to do something bigger than that or do something to eclipse it in a way?
Yeah, I think when I first left the show, I definitely did. I wanted to kind of do something that was really different. And but now I embrace it. I don't think I can do anything bigger. I think that was pretty amazing to be able to be a part of that show, and it's still a show that's had such longevity too. So I would not want to eclipse it now at this stage in my life. I would want to add to, but not eclipse.
Sticking on to the topic of Power Rangers, this is always something that I think me and my friend have always talked about too. It's like, do you ever see another Power Rangers series or season being able to live up to the grand, like love and appreciation that was gathered for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
No.
Like, that's the only one with 4 seasons.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I think that the movies could do that, but not the series. I mean, even little kids that are watching Beast Morphers today still go back to Mighty Morphin. I just think it had a different. The earlier seasons of the show had more character development. there was, I think people were able to get more attached to the characters. There was just more of a story. And now it feels like it's much more about the toys and the morphing, and it's very fast paced, and you don't get a chance to really get to know the characters like you did back then. So I think that's why people love it so much, is they really knew Kimberly and Zach and Tommy, you know, they knew them all. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially since like after that season, after that series, essentially, this show kind of becomes this really big, entangled universe full of a bunch of interesting things, but nothing that's really considered great story driven material. But
right.
if you were ever asked back to do another season of maybe Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for whatever reason, or a movie or something like that, would you say yes?
Yeah, I've been back. I did Ninja Steel. I came back for an episode of Ninja Steel, and it was really fun and nostalgic. But if I came back again, I would want it to be something that's, you know, has more of a tribute to my character, because the episode I did was very fast and very you know, we just kind of appeared with, there wasn't a whole lot for my character to do. It was just kind of like a flash, and there I was, and yay, goodbye kind of a thing. So I would love to see them do a reunion episode and have, you know, maybe a Pink Ranger episode, or a female Rangers come back, or having my season come back, or I don't know, something that's a little bit more interesting. That's what the fans want.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that too. That'd be incredible.
Or come back as a mentor to the newer kids. That'd be fun too.
Oh, like Dino Thunder?
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be up for that.
That'd be cool.
I'd be up for that.
There's a little bit of Power Rangers, a little bit of not Power Rangers. I just want to know, what are your thoughts on kind of this new age of origin stories, where they take all these older, really popular characters and bring them into this new age, but kind of from scratch, like they just did with Scoob. Do you like that?
I think that it's interesting. It's a different take. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I liked it. I think the Scooby-Doo stuff you're talking about, the new Scooby-Doo movie. Yeah, I think it's fun to see their take on it. Although I'm much more of, I do think it's hard to redo originals. You know, when they try to redo movies that were classics, it's hard to redo that. But things like Scooby-Doo and stuff that are fun, it's like a different version. That's fine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I like it. I think that to a certain extent that it's great to have iconic characters elevated to a new generation, and sometimes it can be great to have a new perspective on them, and sometimes maybe people disagree with that. So it all depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah.
Continuing outside of Power Rangers, how was it?
I have to go in like
yeah.
1 minute.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And it was fun to get to talk to you and ask you all these questions and get to know more about you.
Yes, thank you so much for reaching out to me, and I hope that you'll keep in touch.
For sure, definitely will. And like I said, thank you to everyone that's listening right now and wants to support this and wanted to listen to this interview. It's really appreciated, and this was a very interesting and very fun conversation. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, and all the best to you. Stay safe.